Welcome to the Money Watch Show. It's Tuesday, September 17th, and I know you have this day circled in your calendars because it is the beginning of a two-day Federal Reserve policy meeting, and this is going to be the first time in 4.5 years where the Federal Reserve cuts interest rates. It's very exciting, and to actually bring more excitement to you, I will have Mark Talercio, the executive producer and co-host of this program, on the air. Mark, you're a little under the weather, but that doesn't mean you're not excited for this.
Still very excited. This gives me hope that, I don't know, maybe in the next 12 to 18 months that we'll be able to refinance. So very, very happy.
What is the level at which you think there's going to be real excitement around mortgage interest rates? For example, there are some who say all we need to do is drop down below 6%. I don't know if that's the case. I mean, but what is there a number in your mind?
I would think if we get into the fives, even if it's the very high fives, I think you're going to see a very big uptick in activity.
Because also, don't forget, there's all of those people who are sitting in a mortgage that is below 4%. I think it's something like, I thought that the statistic is like almost 60% of all outstanding mortgages are sub 6%. Are sub 4%. And so if all those people are waiting to list their homes until they can get something closer, I agree a 5 would be really nice. Okay. So are you going to lock in? Like, are you going to wait? I mean, there's going to be, this is the begin. All right. So gang, this is the beginning of a process, and we'll talk more about this, in the coming weeks. But, the Fed last cut interest rates in March of 2020. Mark, it is so funny. I looked all of this up because I knew that I was going to have to go on television and talk a lot about this. And I was just noticing that I had completely forgotten about this. I blocked it out, that in March of 2020, before we actually had the Fed meeting, the Fed cut like aggressively. So they went to basically 0% before we had the Fed meeting. So Mark, why would it be a bad thing for everyone to have 3% mortgages again? What would that mean about the economy?
That would mean the economy is in bad shape and they need to get it jump started.
Yeah. So don't be rooting for those 0% interest rates and 3% mortgage rates, gang, because that's not good. It means that we are in a very, very dim place in the economy. So I'm hoping that the Fed lands at around 3% as their terminal value. But we'll see. We're at 5.25 to 5.5. We'll get a quarter. Are you all at all a believer in a half a point at this meeting, Mark, or not?
I wouldn't rule it out completely. I think there's a slight chance. I wouldn't be completely shocked if it happens.
I wouldn't either, but I don't expect it for sure. We need to just wait and see what they're going to say, and I will happily report back to you. If you are really freaked out about mortgage interest rates, if you are really freaked out about considering the idea of listing your home, what I suggest is that you join us for our next webinar, which will be occurring around the corner on Tuesday, September 24th. That sounds like a week from today. And at that webinar, we will be talking about real estate and the mortgage market and the reaction from the mortgage market and what the expectations are and how these new real estate rules are impacting buyers and sellers with this new commission rules and all these. Oh, my God, it's crazy. Anyway, if you want to join us next week, you've got to be a member of Jill on Money Live. That's where you have access to quarterly live webinars and bonus video content. $35 will get you a whole year's worth of us, and I encourage you to do that. Okay, now with that said, let's turn to Anthony, who is on the line from New Jersey. Anthony, what's happening?
Hi, Jill and Mark. Good to speak with you.
Great to be with you. So what's going on?
So I am 50 right now. 2 years ago in July of 2022, I pulled the plug on early retirement. I feel like I live on modest income, and I have spent the last 2 years kind of double checking, making sure all of my numbers fell where I thought they would. And I've been very happy so far. And I have been spending less money than I thought I would, which
no
is
kidding.
A bonus. Yes.
Why do you think that is? Is that just because you were keeping an eye on it? You know what I mean? Like sometimes
yes.
when you're watching it.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. Just,
Interesting.
not depriving myself, but not spending on things that really don't matter.
Mm-hmm.
So I am at the point now, I did get a part-time job when I retired. And now I'm even thinking of letting that go. So I thought I would, run some numbers by you and see what you think about my overall plan as well as dumping the part-time job.
Absolutely. So first of all, how old are you, Anthony?
I'm 50.
Okay. And are you partnered, married, any other
Nope.
people I got to worry about?
No, not right now.
Okay. Income right now.
So I have a pension
Hmm.
that is about 35, a little more than 35,000 a year.
Okay. And that will be for your whole life, right? We don't have any.
Correct. That's
Okay.
my whole life, but it is it is nothing, no incremental increases or anything like that. It will be that fixed amount for
Oh,
life.
so no, there's no cost of living
No
adjustment.
cost of living. Correct.
Okay. Okay. Got it. And then what other income?
I have a rental income.
Hmm.
I have one rental property, and that generates about 9,000 a year.
Anything else?
Other than investments and CDs, and that's pretty much it. My current job that I'm working, it's a pittance. It's about 8,500 a year, 8,500 a year,
Okay.
and then I do a little bit of like 1099 work that's relatively steady. It's about 3,000 a year, but again, a pittance.
All right. But like, so in other words, for part-time income right now, it's $1,000 a month, basically.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Got it. And when you were tracking your numbers, tell me what did the numbers tell you?
I budgeted for 54,000 a year.
Okay.
But included in that is a healthy $10,000 a year for travel. So it's buffered a little bit.
So the real number is more like, we'll say 4 grand a month, right? Basically. And then the extra is like the fun money stuff, right?
Yes, yes,
Okay.
that
So,
would be good.
so, okay. So we'll say that we'll say like 48,000 a year is like your real, or 4,000 a month is like the nut, your monthly nut plus this extra money for fun. Okay. So, tell us about the money you've saved.
So I have I kind of almost use the bucket strategy.
Okay.
So I have quite a bit in CDs and cash right now, all of it earning more than 5%. But I have
For the
about three.
time being.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. I have about 320,000 in CDs and cash. I
320.
have 240,000 in a Roth 403B right now,
Okay.
which what I've been doing the last couple years is doing Roth conversions. And I
Okay.
hope to do the last conversion next year
Hmm.
because I still have 80,000 in a 457. And then once I have everything in one account, I have a small brokerage account,
Hmm.
and right now the money's being managed, but I think I'm going to switch it into my brokerage account afterwards.
Okay, so let me just make sure I got it. The cash in the CDs is 320. The
Yes,
Roth is 240. The
yes.
traditional 457 is 80. And how much is in the brokerage?
I kind of included in those numbers. It's a small amount. I
Okay.
just opened it so I have a place
Yeah,
to
I
move it.
got
Yeah.
you. Okay. And your home is your primary residence, not the rental, but what's the primary worth?
220,
And
and
is there a
it
mortgage?
nope, it's paid off.
What's the rental worth?
Same thing, about 220, and it's
Also paid off?
also paid off.
9 grand a year doesn't seem like so much from rent. That's net to you, but is there any
I'm sorry, that's the profit per year.
okay.
So
So
that's
that's
not
after everything.
that's after all the bills are paid
Hmm.
for. Yes, I'm making 9,000 a year.
Do you like it? You want to keep it? Just give us a sense of it, because I'll just build
My
that
my
in.
yeah, my current plan is to keep it at least until 60 to 62-ish, 60,
Hmm.
65-ish, kind of in
Hmm.
that range. So, yeah, it's so far it's been easy and
Okay.
very little hassle.
Okay, that's fine. Do you want to stop working this part-time stuff? I mean, you're so young. You're only 50.
Yeah, what I was worried about when I retired was sort of the daily, going through, just kind of having a purpose. And I've kind of built the gym around that. And then I've done some volunteer work. And I feel like, 2 years in, I've kind of added enough to my life where now the part-time job is getting in the way a little bit.
Interesting.
Yeah. So I'm not 100% sure I want to get rid of it, but I'm thinking about it.
Okay. So when you think about that, do you have anxiety at all? Only the reason I'm asking you that is that it seems to me that the part-time income is kind of like this nice little kicker. You probably can make everything that you need because obviously between your pension and the rental, you're pretty close to covering most of the money, but that part-time income really does make it work a lot better. I'm trying to figure out from your perspective if you think that's like a burden, and if that's the case, then I can talk you through it. But if you're like, no, I really want to keep doing this, then that's a different issue.
It's not a burden. I guess I just want the option to quit if I want to.
The thing is about that, it's close, right? The pension doesn't have a COLA. What are we talking about from Social Security perspective? What's your full retirement age Social Security benefit?
Okay, full retirement age would be 34,500.
Yeah, I mean that's going to be so. It's that 17 years basically that we have to. So it's a weird thing because the pension doesn't have a COLA. Okay, and because you have a long time, these 17 years. Even if we say, well, inflation is going to run at around 3%, and maybe your income from the rental will go up by more than inflation, but your pension won't. So that means we're spending some of your money down. How do you feel about spending that money down? Is that going to freak you out? Like, let's pretend that every year for the next, say, 10 years, you blow through all of the cash. You're done. Is that going to freak you out?
That was a little bit of my plan, quite frankly, because I have the money. The money that's invested is invested relatively aggressively, but I don't plan on looking at that until 62, 65, maybe even later. So, and I am a big fan of waiting till 70 for Social Security, but not necessarily for me. I'm in decent health. I don't have any major health issues, but I definitely do not have longevity in my family. So I'm even flirting with the idea of taking Social Security at 62. And I feel so that in my kind of bucketing strategy, it was like, okay, my cash and CDs, I will have run through that by the time I either sell the condo or start collecting Social Security, either one or the other. And then in the meantime, the investments can keep growing.
I'm like a tiny bit concerned about this plan, maybe for a reason that doesn't bother you at all, but it seems to bother me more. I'm a little bit worried that, like, if you live too long, it's not going to work so great. Like, I get the whole longevity issue. I really do. But what if you do live long? I mean, Mark, do you see what I'm saying? Like, I'm a little concerned that we have this issue that is now feels a tiny bit like out of control. I mean, what do you think, Mark?
For you and me, for the two of us, Jill, it's probably too close for comfort. I'm not saying that it can't happen, but everything has to kind of align. He has that house there, that other house that's sitting there. As you said, he's not making a ton of money on it, but it's nice knowing that can be unloaded.
I mean, I guess if you were willing to do that, because also it sounds also to me like you're sort of saying that not only is the game plan to claim early, but that you would also be willing to sell this property. So that of course does help. Look, man, it's close. Okay. It is close. And I don't, I'm not going to pretend that it's like, oh, it's all well and, everything's hunky dory. It's not. It's close. Close does not mean that it's terrible. It really doesn't. It means that this could work for you.
And the job provides the little buffer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Well, the other thing I
how do you
thought
feel
of,
about that? When I tell you that, how do you feel
yeah,
about
no,
that?
I'm fine with that. The other thing is, I'm not even sold. I'm looking, taking it when I'm 60, 62, taking a look at things. And if I'm in good health, then I wouldn't claim the Social Security until
Yeah,
I'm 70.
yeah, yeah.
And then at that point, still maybe selling the condo,
Mm,
which would, kind of, if I'm feeling like longevity might be better than expected, then that's where I switched, in my head, I've always thought 62, but a lot can change in the next
right.
10 years.
If you're willing to be flexible, then I think it can work. That's what
Yeah.
I would say. It's not like a slam dunk. And
Yeah.
I also don't want you to hear like it's something horrible. It's not. It really isn't. I promise you. But I just want to be careful. That's
No, I
that's
totally
all.
agree with
That's
that.
like very,
And
very. I feel like this is a
yeah,
funny thing because I don't want you to get like nutty with it either. Like I think that you can probably do it. It's a tiny bit closer to, like like as Mark said, it's a little
yeah.
close for me, but that does not mean a thing. It really doesn't.
I thought the same thing, but what made me feel good is the last 2 years, like that 48,000 that I gave you, I probably spent about 10,000 less than that.
Right.
So like I'm giving myself a nice little buffer.
Okay.
So I'm hoping like that job money is really going to go right to savings. That's
Okay.
not even, so but I understand. I kind of feel the same way.
Okay, so if you're flexible, we're flexible. And then the answer to your question, can I actually quit my part-time work? Sure, you can. And could you potentially delay taking Social Security? That would help. And also, could you keep raising the rent? That would help. And if you needed to sell the rental because it wasn't actually working for you, or it becomes a pain in the neck, you'd be all those things that you'd be willing to do, those adjustments, then I think I'm in. Anthony from New Jersey, any other questions for us?
No, that's great. Thank you so much.
All right, don't quit just yet. Don't quit that job just yet. So if you have a question about what you are going to do next with your retirement, or you're a young retiree, or you're one of these younger people who's like, hey, I'm willing to work longer because I want to continue to do more fun stuff today, I'd love to hear from you. Give us a holler. Go to JillOnMoney.com, click the Contact Us button, and write us a note. And if you want to join us on the air live, check the box, and Mark will do everything else. Hey, don't forget that you should go, when you're on that website, sign up for the free weekly newsletter. It's so great. I love it. Mark Talercio is the co-host, the executive producer, and the king of all things web, and he puts together that weekly newsletter. We're distributed by Paramount Global. We drop our episodes on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Please, please try to do something nice for someone else today. Change your work, change your wealth, change your life. Thank you for listening. We'll talk to you on Thursday.
Paramount Podcasts.